Hello, YouTube, and welcome to my page. I am your Gen X girl, Lisa. If you are interested in seeing how I went from this to this, stick around. I lost 50 pounds in 2020 and I have kept it. Unfortunately, like most people in America, I also had a problem with my weight. It became very critical during in 2020 during the COVID times. My health had started to really deteriorate, and I knew that I had to do something. I was 49 years old. I was about to hit the big 50, and the older we get, the harder it is to make a life change, a permanent life change. It gets harder the older we get. And I needed help. So what I did was I reached out to a coach. But before I get into the nitty gritty of the story, I'll just give you a little history, a little background history. So I had always been active ever since I was in high school. If you're Gen X, then you remember the Jane Fonda aerobic videos. I used to do those. I was also in the band. So, in the band, you're out, you're practicing. When I left high school and I was in college, I danced for a couple of years. And once I graduated from college, I enlisted in the military. And not that that really helped me to maintain any sort of weight loss or, you know, help me to live a healthier lifestyle. The military, contrary to belief, depending on what branch you join, and I was in the Air Force, does not really focus on sustainable weight loss. But I had started running, and I was in the reserves. So if you're familiar with the reserves, it's 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year, and sometimes a little more than that. But in my 20s, I had joined a gym. So I was running. I was doing mostly cardio, especially, back then in the 90s. We really were not lifting weights like we are now. So I was mostly a cardio bunny. But the thing that I could not get down, or the thing that was kicking my butt, was the food, you know, eating to sustain my body and, to give me the energy that I needed to, in order. I was 28. One of my friends was like, Lisa, let's go to the gym. And it was not the first time that I had been to a gym, but it was the first time where I actually lifted weights. So from 28 up until now, I have been lifting weights. So almost 30 years. I'm 54 now, so 28, 26 years. And so between 28 and 49, there were some times where I would fall off the bandwagon. Not too long, because I've always enjoyed, doing some type of exercise. So when I did fall off, it would only be for like a week or two. So nothing long, long enough to mess up your gains or anything like that. Like I said, for me, it was the food. You cannot exercise, you cannot out exercise a bad diet. That is a fact, okay? You cannot. So from 28 to 49, I was lifting weights, but a year before COVID, I had decided, I don't know what I was thinking, but I had decided that I needed to lose some muscle so that I could lose weight. And that was a very bad decision. And I'll tell you why. Because muscle really helps to regulate our hormones. And as a woman, at 49, going through that stage of life, I really, that was definitely the time that I needed to be lifting weights. But for some reason, because I wanted to lose weight, I knew if I lost muscle, then I would lose weight. But it was a terrible, horrible idea. We're we're all locked down. We all are, not everyone, but a lot of us are working from home. And so we're even more inactive than we were prior to COVID because before the shutdown, we were at least walking from our car to the building and leaving the building and walking back to our car, you know, and then do our little errands or whatever. But because of the shutdown, a lot of us were stuck in the house and became even more inactive and gained even more weight. And as I said in the beginning, my health has started to deteriorate. My blood pressure was like really, really high. And what I found out a couple of years later when I looked at my blood work during that time period, my A1C, I was like pre-diabetic. And the VA doctor never said anything to me about being pre-diabetic. How diabolical is that? That is just crazy. And it pisses me off when I think about it. So I hired a coach. And contrary to what you may think, yes, it is a privilege to be able to hire a coach. However, you still have to do the work. I still had to do the work. Even though I had the coach and the coach guided me in how to lose weight, I still had to do the work. And part of the work was, one of the things was increasing my protein intake. And not only increasing my protein intake, but also increasing my fat intake. Contrary to what you may think, we need healthy fats to help regulate our hormones. And of course, we all know that we need protein to help build muscle. Also, protein is very good for your hair, your skin, and your nails. Now, I'm one of those plain Janes. I don't get my nails done. And I do have to cut them often because they grow very fast. My hair grows pretty quickly also, even at this big age of 54. Thank goodness, knock on some wood somewhere, my hair is still growing pretty fast. And my skin, when I was in my early 20s, I had really bad acne. So I have the scarring to show for that. So I don't have the best skin as far as my face is concerned. But yeah, protein is the building block of the human body. Now, what we also did was she had me walking, like, because I was working from home, I would get up in the morning and I would go to the gym. I was doing, like I said, I was doing mostly cardio. But then I would go upstairs because I live in an apartment, go upstairs, sit down for 8 or 10 hours working, and then just sit. So I was sitting all day. And so part of that was to increase my NEAT, non-exercise activity. So I was doing at least a 10-minute walk during the day in the morning and a 10-minute walk in the evening. And that was just to move the body, get the blood flowing, get outside and get some fresh air. Even I was living in Virginia at the time, and even in that cold weather, I'm a native of Florida, okay? So I would go out there in the winter months. This Florida girl would go out there in the winter months and get in her walk, and I would get back into my apartment and I'd have to thaw out. Here for now, it is Saturday evening, and I just felt it in my spirit to get on here and start this video because this is something that I really want to do. So the next time you see me, I'll be dressed differently and it'll be Sunday morning. So to continue, I hired my coach in September 2020, And my goal at the time, I was weighing about 185, 188 pounds. And my goal at the time was just to get my blood pressure under control so that I could get off the medication. And I figured if I lost 10 to 15 pounds, that would help get the blood pressure under control. Well, I ended up losing that first year. I ended up losing around 30 pounds. Now, why did it take a year to lose 30 pounds? Because we were doing it in a sustainable way. When the experts say the quicker or the faster you lose weight, the faster you put it back on, that is so true. So it took me about a year to lose 30 pounds. And when I lost those 30 pounds, I decided, you know what? I think I want to do a bodybuilding bikini competition. I have always, well, since my 20s, I've been fascinated with bodybuilding. If you're into that sort of thing, then you remember Muscle Fitness Hers and an Oxygen magazine. So yeah, I wanted to compete in a bodybuilding show. And I did. And I lost an additional 20 pounds to get on stage. Now, why did I not stay at the weight that I competed when I did the bodybuilding bikini competition show? Because it's not healthy. Because my calories were actually really low. And during the time that I was just losing weight to become healthier, my calories ranged anywhere. From, I think she started me off at 1,700 calories. Yes, you heard that right. 1,700 calories to start a weight loss program. And the highest I have gotten in the whole 5 years, I would say, I think close to 2,300 calories. And how do I know that? Because I keep track. What is it? My Fitness Pal. I have that app. And I've been tracking calories. I won't say calories, I've been tracking macros. My coach is one of the coaches that believes in tracking macros and not calories because protein, I know, and right now, protein is like, you know, I can't think of the word right now because it is 5:30 in the morning. So my brain is not firing on all cylinders. But everyone is harping on protein, protein, protein. And yes, protein is very, very important. And also your fats. I mentioned that earlier. You know, your fats help with your hormones, protein with your building muscle, carbohydrates. Well, carbohydrates give you energy and keep you from suffering from brain fog. So the three macronutrients play a very important part in keeping us healthy. How have I maintained my weight loss? By being consistent, by not doing anything extreme. Right now, I went on a mini cut. And so my calories right now are around 1,600. And then I have 2 days of a refeed, and that's around 1,800 calories. So, throughout the years, your calories are, they go up, they go down, but they never go below. Since after my bodybuilding competition show, my calories have not gone below 1,600 calories. And I know some of you are probably like, what? Oh my God, if I ate 1,600 calories, I'd blow up and I gain all this weight. You have to give your body time. You did not gain 30 pounds in a month, did you? No, you didn't. So you have to give your body time to adjust to basically, yeah, like I said, you have to give your body time to adjust to your new lifestyle. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to hear this because we want instant gratification, but I'm going to harp on this. The slower you lose weight, the more likely you are to keep it off because you're doing something that is sustainable. Okay? Now, what has also helped me keep the weight off is I don't deprive myself. The only time that I deprived myself was when I was preparing for the bodybuilding competition show. I did that show in 2022. So it's been 3 years. I'm gonna, and hopefully can get back on stage in 2026. If I do, I will definitely be documenting it here on YouTube. So I did that show in 2022. Since then, I do partake in eating, cookies or cake, pizza. It's just, and I won't even say it's moderation. You don't need pizza every day. You don't need cookies every day. You don't need cake every day. You can, and the foods that you eat to help you reach your healthy lifestyle doesn't have to be bland. It doesn't have to be boring. And I'm not the one, I don't really cook a whole lot. I like to cook simple stuff. I like to put it in the oven or put it in my air fryer. I'm not trying to do all these different recipes. You see people doing the meal planning and it's all elaborate. No, that is way too much work. Simple. Keep it simple. So yeah, just keep it simple. And on the weekend, or no, not even on the weekend, because you don't have to have the cake and the cookies and the pizza and the burgers once a week. You really don't. You can save that stuff for, when you go out with your family. Perfect example now, it is November. We're in Thanksgiving was just this past Thursday. So Thanksgiving, the holidays, birthdays, that's stuff that once you become used to not having that type of food all the time, you really don't miss it, okay? During the holidays, yeah, you may struggle a little bit because it's around and, you taste that cookie and sometimes it's like, But no, once you get used to it, it's a lot easier. And then I also want to mention cardio, because a lot of people, not only do people become extreme with their food, but they also become extreme with their workout and their training. You don't have to do cardio 7 days a week. Right now, I am only doing cardio. I'm doing cardio 5 days a week. There have been periods where I've done cardio 4 days a week. The only time I did more than an hour of cardio was when I was prepping for the bodybuilding show. So this is about, although I mentioned the bodybuilding show, I am doing this video as a lifestyle person, not a bodybuilding person. So right now, currently, I'm doing 20 minutes of cardio 5 days a week. I train in the gym. I lift weights in the gym 4 days a week. So you don't have to do anything extreme. And I know in our society, in American society, we want instant gratification. But like I said, you did not gain 30, 40, 50 pounds in 30 days. You're not going to lose it in 30 days. And if you really, and everyone, look, people who are looking to lose weight and live a healthier lifestyle, they really want it. They really do. It is just finding the tools to get there and to be able to sustain a lifestyle that will get the weight off and keep the weight off. And that is probably the hardest part, is getting the weight off. No, getting the weight off, depending on how you do it, can be really easy. But keeping the weight off is what's really, really hard. And also, when you start to embark on your new, healthier lifestyle, you don't have to announce it to everyone, okay? Because not everyone is going to be in your corner. You're going to have those secret haters. And the moment they see you eating something that they deem is not diet friendly, the first thing that's going to come out of their mouth is, oh, I thought you were on a diet. Oh, how do you expect to lose weight? Oh, this, oh, that. Everything out of their mouth is going to be negative. So you don't have to tell everyone about your goals. As a matter of fact, I would advise that the only people you share your weight loss goal with are people who are also on a weight loss goal. Because sometimes family and friends can be your worst enemy. I'm gonna include a clip of a video of my coach so you can see our interaction. I send her a check-in every week, and for the most part, she usually sends videos, but she's a working mom. So every once in a while, she'll just write up, she'll respond to me in an email without the video. But also, I know that, as I said at the beginning of the video, hiring a coach is a privilege. But I want you guys to know that there is so much good information on the internet. And really, that is how I found my coach. I know that it's hard to find good information on the internet because there's so much junk out there. But I would advise that, with Instagram, you look up some of these coaches and you could sort of weed out the BS. And so when you don't have to hire a coach, you can follow a lot of coaches online. The thing is, you have to find the right one. Now, I would not follow an influencer. No shade, no shade to the influencers, okay? Absolutely zero shade to the. So no shade to the influencers, but a lot of reputable coaches, if you go to their social media accounts, you will see that, either they have a degree in this field or they've been doing it for 15, 20 years. Just scroll through their Instagram account. And I mentioned Instagram, I don't do TikTok I just don't do TikTok. And scroll through their Instagram feed, look at their clients, see how many of their clients have stuck with them. There is one particular person on Instagram who I was following back since 2012. And because I was following him, one of his clients, I started following one of his clients. And then his client became a coach. And when I reached out to him about coaching, that's how I got hooked up with my coach. So yes, I know the internet is full of crap, especially when it comes to weight loss. But if you are patient with yourself, if you just, and I can't stress this enough, because you'll end up in a situation where you're doing something extreme to lose weight. And I don't want that for any of you guys. I want you guys to, I want you to lose the weight slowly so that you learn, the process of living a healthier lifestyle. It doesn't have to be extreme. That's what I want for you guys. And I just rambled and I did not make any sense. I will be doing the more I do YouTube, the better that I'm going to become at YouTube. So I will be doing another video like this in a future date when I become much better at YouTube. I bought this a couple of years ago. It's really cute, as you can see. It's sheer. And I have the Lululemon sports bra under. And it has a little hole in the back here. But it's very cute. And I'm a firm believer in going to the gym looking cute because it helps. I think it's a motivator. You go in there, you're feeling good, and you're gonna work out. Also, when I dress cute for the gym, I want to go and I want to show off my little outfit. Now, if you saw last week's video, then you know I'm not going in there just to prance around. I'm actually going in there and working out. But you can go in there and you can train hard and you can still look cute, which are white